Dyer's Daily. One of the most unlikely and yet likely things that I have seen on a streaming service this year is Wings. Likely because it won the first Academy Award for Best Picture. Unlikely because it's a silent movie made in 1927 and, as I say, in 1929 won the Academy Award for Best Picture. By rights, most things on streaming were made in the last 25, 30 years. This one predates everything, pretty much. And from watching it for the first time, I've always been interested in seeing this film that is now streaming on Paramount Plus in the UK. Nowhere else in the world, just the UK, it seems. And I've always been interested in seeing this film because it's listed as one of Clara Bow's finest. She was a massive silent movie star in that era. It also stars Richard Arlen, Charles Buddy Rogers, and Gary Cooper in a very early role as well. And it was directed by William A. Wellman, who went on to make lots of different films, including a few with John Wayne, who I'm sure that you've heard of. So this silent film is like 2 hours and 20 minutes, and it's based on the experiences that William A. Wellman had as a pilot during the First World War. And it's this story about these two pilots who go to war, and there's Clara Bow on the side as well, offering up a little bit of extra drama. And basically it's about the tragedy of war. And the thing that struck me about this is that the stuff that they're doing on film pretty much had never been done before. The way that they're shooting in the cockpit, the fact that the actors are actually flying those planes, the amount of battle sequences and the impressiveness of the angles, and a lot of the techniques, I mean, certainly in those war sequences towards the end, are stuff that you'd expect to see in a film 20 or 30 years its junior. It was an incredible film. And while in places it seems very, how do I put this? It seems very light in places, but when they get down to the meat of it, it's quite heavy. And there's a lot of very interesting sequences with groundbreaking visuals. And I loved on Paramount Plus, they've got the version with the original manuscript of the music, and they've added sound effects as well. So when you see an explosion, you hear an explosion. And I think for a modern audience, that just brings you in. And it's clear to see why it won Best Picture. And as far as I know, it's the only pure silent movie to win Best Picture at the Oscars. I think the artist won it, but obviously at the end, their sound. So that doesn't really count. So this is the only silent movie to do it, and how impressive this film is. Go and stream it, because I think it's going to get buried by lots of things. Paramount haven't really advertised it as far as I can see, as I'm recording this, and it's just going to get buried, which is such a shame, because you need to see this. I was in awe at the stuff that Wellman was doing back then. The lighter scenes are funny and whimsical, and the action sequences are breathtaking. To think this film was made in the late 20s is incredible, and without this film, I doubt that you would have had things such as Top Gun, Star Wars, basically anything where anyone is flying something. You wouldn't have had that without this movie. So go and check it out. It's streaming on Paramount Plus right now. Just a warning, there are a couple of scenes with nudity, very brief nudity, but as I say, great action sequences, really interesting story as well. I was really invested in the characters. So go and check it out. It's streaming on Paramount Plus. Wings from 1929.
Dyer's Daily.